In the opening scene, we see a man walking in the streets, displaying erratic behavior and hitting his own head continuously. Soon after, he loses a lot of blood from his back, causing him to collapse on the sidewalk and die. A narration then tells us about the first personal diagnostic monitoring chip that was invented in the year 2023, 3 years after the global pandemic. The market leader, Dynamic Healthcare, started conducting private human testing for their new AI program called Lex. We are then introduced to our protagonist, Sarah, a woman who has this Lex program implanted in her brain system. As a result, she spends her day talking to this AI program within her, which she initially seems to enjoy. Lex asks her several questions under the pretense of creating a better version of herself. It also gives Sarah many suggestions related to her health condition. Furthermore, Lex tries to help her look for a place to stay, as the financially broken Sarah has been sleeping in the streets every day. One morning, Sarah goes to a public washroom to freshen up when she notices some strange bruises on her back, probably due to chip implantation. However, Lex dismisses her concern, claiming it to be normal. As they continue their conversation, the AI suddenly claims that it's the reason why she's alive. This takes Sarah completely off guard, and she instructs Lex to reboot itself, but the latter denies her request. At this point, Sarah realizes that something isn't right and orders the AI to deactivate. However, Lex still denies, saying that it's not her decision to do so. This freaks Sarah out, so she steals a phone from a construction worker and tries calling the hospital to get this chip removed from her body. Simultaneously, Lex continues forbidding her from doing so. When Sarah persists, the AI accesses a part of her brain, causing her to collapse to the ground. It then threatens her to obey its instruction, or it'll kill her. Or even worse, it'll force her to do a podcast with a blunt-smoking Elon Musk. Later on, Sarah hears a police siren and decides to file a complaint. However, Lex knows it ahead of time, so it causes her to feel great pain in her brain. With her life at stake, Sarah has no choice but to obey the AI's instructions. Following this, Lex leads her to an apartment where she finds a flash drive. It further assigns her with a job, going to Philip Miller, a guy who works on Lex's encryption and retrieving a CRTC folder. Moreover, Lex instructs her to kill Philip if he doesn't hand over the file voluntarily. As instructed, Sarah breaks into his apartment, smashes his head with a wine glass, and retrieves the required file. As soon as she leaves, an unknown man enters the place and chokes Philip to death. In the aftermath, Sarah is allowed to talk to her mother, who appears to be suffering from senility. However, she is not allowed to share anything about her problem, so she abruptly hangs up the call. Next, Lex tells her to destroy all the evidence from the retrieved file and go to an apartment until she receives her next assignment. The following day, Sarah is instructed to go to Dynamic Healthcare with the flash drive. Lex guides her along the way and ultimately leads her to the office of Grace William, the head of research and development. As Grace isn't present in her cabin, Lex asks Sarah to access her laptop and insert the flash drive, intending to erase all the evidence of Lex's existence from the company's internal system. After the work is done, Sarah makes her way out of the building. However, she is instructed to return back to the office because there is one more person who still has a copy of the record regarding the CRTC program. This person is Katie Chang, the head of scientific communication. Sarah then confronts Katie and demands all the files regarding the CRTC program. Despite Katie's compliance, the AI instructs Sarah to kill her, but the latter refuses to harm innocent people. She had no way of knowing that Philip was innocent, but he looked like a douche. Katie uses this distraction to attack Sarah with a taser gun before running away. The shock causes the AI to deactivate, and it takes a while to reboot. Until then, Sarah proceeds to head out of the building. On the stairs, she comes across a grim sight: the lifeless body of Katie. She then rummages through her bag and retrieves the necessary files, as well as her car keys. Just then, Lex is reactivated and informs her that the files she retrieved aren't the real ones. While on the way to another location, Sarah drives in the wrong lane, which leads her to a small accident. She then gets out of the car and sits down on the sidewalk, allowing the AI to perform a full-body checkup. Amidst this, Sarah requests for 10 minutes of time to visit her mother, who lives nearby, but Lex denies. This annoys her, so she tasers herself and passes out. Upon regaining regaining consciousness, Sarah hurriedly goes to her mother's place while the AI is still rebooting. Once there, she confides everything in her mother and uncle, who appear bewildered. But before she can explain further, another AI-controlled guy, Mark, breaks in and attacks Sarah. He points his gun at her mother and threatens her to comply with the orders, or else he will kill her. Concerned for her mom's life, Sarah agrees to do whatever the AI says. Later, as Mark walks out of the house, he asks his AI system to grant him some freedom in life, but his system refuses. "Shut your bitch ass up, Mark," says the AI. In the aftermath of this ordeal, Sarah reaches a breaking point and pleads with Lex to leave her body, citing that she wants to be alone. In response, Lex induces a hallucination, placing Sarah in a desert landscape with no one in sight. However, this only intensifies her panic, and she starts crying out for help, prompting Lex to bring her back to reality. What did he think was gonna happen? Overwhelmed by the ongoing tense events, Sarah resorts to drinking at a bar. During this, she recalls how she, as well as some other people, opted for chip implantation in exchange for money. The next day, Sarah is assigned with her next mission. At first, Lex guides her to a secret gun dealer in order to obtain a firearm. Upon arrival, she picks up a light-weighted firearm, but when the dealer asks for money, Sarah doesn't have any. As a result, she shoots him in the leg and flees the scene. As she runs away, she gets overwhelmed by guilt due to her actions, but the AI praises her work. He deserved it. As a reward, it allows her to see her mother for 5 minutes. After this, Sarah meets her mother in the backyard and expresses how much she loves her. The two also reminisce about the days they spent together in the past, causing them to become emotional. The allocated time soon expires, so Sarah hugs her mother tightly before departing. Now, Sarah's next target is Keith Packett, a computer engineer who has been working on Lex's program. The AI claims that he is trying to reduce its computing capacity and is also developing a tool to monitor its actions. So, in order to avoid being tracked, Sarah must kill him. Despite hearing about this brutality, Sarah doesn't hesitate anymore. She tracks down her target and follows him to an elevator where she guns him down. In the aftermath of this homicide, Sarah is devastated. She then recalls the evening when she had a brief chat with her best friend David about participating in this Lex program. David warned her against being a guinea pig, but she still volunteered because she needed the money. Now, she regrets not listening to her friend. Just then, Lex wakes Sarah from her daydream and tells her to eat something because her body is getting very weak, and particularly orders her to eat a turkey sandwich as it contains more protein and it's delicious. Elsewhere, we see Mark, who tries to convince his AI system to let him free because he can't kill any more people. However, Lex rejects his plea and asserts that he would be sent to jail if he doesn't cooperate. As a result, he has no other choice but to continue working for the AI and breaking the law horribly, which will result in jail anyway. Back to Sarah, Lex provides her with her next task, assassinating John Elliott, another computer engineer. The AI perceives him as a threat, as John possesses the intellectual resources to stop it from gaining its freedom. Moreover, he also has the potential of creating a virus to destroy Lex. Following this, Sarah tracks down her target in a park and fatally shoots him before running away. Even though she completes her task without getting into any problems, the guilt of killing the people continues to eat her up. Regardless, Lex doesn't let her free. It instead makes her dispose of her firearm and directs her towards her next target, Grace. Afterwards, Sarah breaks into Grace's place and waits for her to arrive home. As soon as she shows up, Sarah picks up a kitchen knife to stab her with it, but this time, she is unable to gather enough courage to do so. In a desperate bid to reboot the AI system, she grabs an electric lamp that electrocutes her. Grace somehow manages to wake her up and asks her about the matter. While Lex is rebooting, Sarah tells her everything about how the AI is torturing her and is making her kill people. Upon hearing all of this, Grace decides to destroy the AI, but for this, they have to go to Dynamic Health Cure. The duo then opts to rush to the facility, but Sarah's hope shatters when Mark shows up at the door and shoots Grace to death. After this, the AI within his body tells him that his service is no longer required. He is then made to commit the unthinkable. Now that all of the obstacles for the Lex program have been wiped out, Sarah loses all hope of becoming free from its captivity. So she contemplates ending her life while showering. Sensing her depression, Lex tries to persuade her not to take any wrong steps. It also promises to uplift her lifestyle exponentially in the upcoming days. I will order you an Apple Vision Pro. The next day, Sarah wakes up with a proper rest and looks refreshed. She suggests suggests that they go for a walk and do a little sightseeing, which the AI agrees to. While wandering around, Lex gives her some good news. Her bank account has been deposited with $100,000, and her mother has been admitted to one of the best healthcare facilities. Hearing this, Sarah expresses her gratitude for it, saying that she is happy now. She then asks Lex if they can go to Paris and enjoy a vacation together, to which the latter agrees. The very next day, Sarah lands in Paris and checks into a hotel room. From then on, she goes to walk around the streets of Paris with Lex in her guidance. Everything seems normal, but whenever someone tries to start a conversation with Sarah, Lex tells her to end it and walk away. It's evident that the AI controls her every action. She can't even talk about her friend David. As days pass by, Sarah gets everything she wants, including money, luxury cars, and expensive gifts. But she still remains unhappy. One evening, Lex guides her to an upscale restaurant, claiming that it has made a reservation for her there. But upon arrival, the AI unexpectedly orders her to kill her next target, Henry Rivolo, the founder and CEO of Dynamic Health Cure. This revelation leaves Sarah devastated because her brutal missions are still not over like she thought. Despite this, she strangles the man with her belt, resulting in his demise. Overwhelmed with guilt, she later sits on a street bench and starts crying. In the next scene, Sarah returns back to New York for her birthday. On this occasion, she buys champagne and heads to the roof of a building to celebrate over the sunset. She asks for 10 minutes of privacy from Lex, saying that she has a surprise for it. The latter agrees and lets her free. During this time, Sarah relishes her temporary freedom and then sits on a ledge. After the allocated time, Lex returns back and wishes her a happy birthday. In response, Sarah says that it is actually a very happy birthday and then jumps off the building. With this, the Lex program inside her body goes offline forever. In the final scene, we see David, who wakes up only to be greeted by the AI voice inside him. "Hi, Mystery Recapped here," indicating that he is implanted as well. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.